I've been an operator for over 5 years on Airbnb, and I make currently over $2 million a year on the platform. And in 2014, when I first started, it was a lot different. I'm gonna give you the 3 ways that Airbnb has completely changed since 2014, and what that means for you as a potential or current Airbnb host. Let's get to the 3. Let's do it. Okay, so number 1, the customer has changed. I think that's a big one. So in early phases of technology, like Airbnb is a technology. Let me remind you all of that in case it hasn't been said enough because people don't understand it. Airbnb is a technology. That's it. Airbnb is not a hotel. Airbnb is not, well, they're actually, I think they're building a hotel of their own now, or they just built it. But they started as an on-demand peer-to-peer technology. And with all on-demand technologies, there's this adoption cycle. A lot of businesses have a very similar adoption cycle. And those new progressive users who like to try new stuff, that are like more keen to taking risks, were the first customers that Airbnb had, right? So Brian Chesky and his buddies, when they first started this business, they were thinking that people were going to rent air mattresses and they're going to stay on the floor of apartment complexes or on the floor of living rooms for conventions in San Francisco, and that was the whole deal, right? Air for air mattress, and then B&B for bed and breakfast. So now, 2019, Airbnb is much more popular. Expedia, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, they're all adding homes as well as hotels to their platforms. So staying in a home is like way more hip now, as opposed to just staying in a hotel. Lots of people are doing it. But we've seen that there's a lot more entitled travelers. There's people who are expecting that same level of professionalism from hosts as they would expect from a hotel. They want hosts to have their game down pat. They want to have all the cool little extra amenities, and they want to have that streamlined service, and they want to have 24-hour concierge through their phone and all this different stuff. That is the big change between the customers. They're no longer these like super progressive, I'm just so excited to be doing something like counterculture. There's regular travelers who have attitudes and are expecting you to like roll out the red carpet for them and treat your home like it's some 5-star hotel, even though they're scoring it for $60 a night. Right? I trolled a lady because I couldn't help myself. We have these properties in Fort Worth that are just super, super economic. She's paying $55 a night for a stay, and the property's about 20 years old, and they're textured non-slip tubs. And because they're textured non-slip tubs, they're not pearly white, and she's mad that the tub wasn't pearly white. And I told her that the tub is clean. We scrubbed that tub, but the only way to like get it white is to change the tub out, just the way the tubs were built and designed. And she was like just super perturbed about this and was copping a bad attitude and being really mean to my employees. So I promised her tomorrow I'd help her find another place, and that Red Roof Inn had comparable prices to ours. And she didn't like that, but it was the truth. So you get more of those guests. So number 2, the world has changed about Airbnb. Airbnb was this like low-key thing that nobody knew about, and it was getting in under the radar, and people were doing it in New York and doing it in Miami. And so now cities, states, countries are making up their mind about whether or not they're cool with Airbnb. Places like San Antonio have kind of interesting laws where you can Airbnb by right, right? San Antonio says you have the right to Airbnb up to 12.5% of any block face. What does that mean? Well, imagine there's 8 houses in a row on a block. One of them can be an Airbnb property. Let's say there's an apartment complex on one side of a block, and it has 200 units. 12% of those, so you get 25 units out of that. But on the other side of the block, you can still have property. So you can have 25 out of 200 here, but if there's 4 homes, you can have 1 out of 4 on that side of the block. So any block face. That's kind of what that is. Now, Austin has rules about like type 2 properties or type 1 properties. If you don't live in your type 1 property in Austin, like if you don't live in the home, if it's not your homestead, you can't take a home like a mansion or a 4-bedroom single family home and turn it into an Airbnb. You have to do apartments. That's their rule. Some cities are completely anti-Airbnb. Some are super chipper. Some are super cool. So just people have made up their mind. That's a big thing. So, and then the third and most notable change in the Airbnb space is that there's institutional players in the game now. There are some big boys out there in what we call rental arbitrage. There's some monsters. Sonder is worth over $1 billion. They have over 6,000 doors. 6,000 places to stay, Sonder has. Now there's also Stay Alfed, there's Domio, Lyric, a company that I ran into in Dallas 2 years ago that only had about 120 units at the time, less than 2 years ago. They just got a $160 million investment from Airbnb themselves. Airbnb is investing in the institutional rental arbitrage players in the game. Makes my 80 units look weak. But we bootstrapped. I mean, I paid cash. Like, I've never taken debt for my 80 apartments, the furniture and stuff. Now, that's really all it takes to start a property is you need to get a lease, you need to buy the furniture, buy the fixtures, buy the plates and stuff, and get a listing up and go. So it doesn't take a lot of money to do rental arbitrage as opposed to owning. So that's still great. But what's also, let me give you a bonus here. Let me give you a super cool bonus. Because the institutional players are in the game, there's more realized benefits. They call it de-risking. De-risking is where you have a 300-unit apartment complex, and the apartment complex is worried about a recession or about overbuilds. Like Dallas right now, 14% of its inventory is under construction. So in 12 months, Dallas's total units of availability will be up 14% over last year. And if Dallas doesn't grow and move people in by the tune of 14%, there's going to be places empty, right? Landlords are scared right now. So if you show up as a solution to their tenancy problem, they're probably going to sign a bunch of leases with you. Isn't that cool? So there's power in being a partner in rental arbitrage. I hope that this was helpful. A lot's changed in Airbnb, but it's still a really awesome game. We're still making tons of money. I've got a property in Houston. I pay $2,400 a month in rent, and we cash flow $9,000 to $12,000 a month. I think it might be the best performing rental arbitrage on the market. We're going to break down the numbers in a future video. But if you're wondering if you can still Airbnb, if the water's still warm, the answer is yes. A lot's changed. And we're going to talk about what you need to do to be the right type of host in this new environment, and plenty of our content to come. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome to Airbnb Automated. Did you know that YouTube won't just show you this video if you're a subscriber? If you did not hit the notification bell, they will take this video and give it to a small sample of current YouTube subscribers to Airbnb Automated. And if it performs well, they will send you a notification maybe also later, or they'll put it on your home screen later. So if you want to always get our content without missing it, because we're going to be doing some time-sensitive stuff here, if you want that content hot and ready, hit the notification bell, and you'll always get that stuff. You don't have to worry about YouTube deciding if they think you'll like the video.